What's up, guys? Your boy Chris C-Walkz Walker again. Today, I'm going to talk about um, why, even though today is Father's Day, I count it as another Mother's Day. Um, so, I've stated this many times. Father's Day is by far the worst holiday um, next to Valentine's Day. So you got Father's Day number one, Valentine's Day number two. Um, And it goes a little deeper than just, the person of the father. So, of course, the story goes I was born in 1996, July 18th, and, the story was written. My father was not there in my life, was not there during my birth, nor he was there throughout my entirety of my 27 years, about 28 years. Um, I'm not even going to tell him his name because I know some of y'all may search his name, but I think for the ones that I've talked to, I'm sure you kind of know his name. But anyways, for the stuff that I knew about my dad, he was a womanizer, a stealer, drug dealer. Didn't want to be there for any of us 4 to 5 children, and I never met none of my other siblings a day in my life. The only sibling that I knew about my sister, Gwen, and we barely talk. So it was pretty much at times it was just by myself for the most part. Um, um, so as the story goes, um, you know, I went to Thomas. I think this was the only school. Uh, elementary is probably the only school that, because it's so small, students they allow their fathers to they had a little mini Father's Day, obviously because it's July, it's in June, so they did it during the school year. And I remember this. I remember two stories that I felt so embarrassed about being not having a dad in my life. And one of those was we're at Thomas Elementary. I was at Thomas Elementary, and it was bring your dad to work, bring your dad to school for breakfast. Um, so of course, Thomas Elementary is, in case you don't know, is by Lytle Shores, New Horizon neighborhood, the Canterbury neighborhood. All that was considered Thomas, and there's a lot of my friends that had dads in their lives, and they all, it was a predominantly white school at the time. And all their dads shows up, even my friends' dads that live in the same street we showed up for their breakfast and stuff. And I was one of none that didn't have their dad to eat lunch with. So I was very sad that day. Um, and that went on for the next 6 years of elementary school. That it just there was just no way possible. I actually have three stories to how I felt bad about it that day, and it devastated me. It changed my perspective on things that I knew a life that I couldn't have. And it was even to a point where I was like, I remember I asked one of the teachers, or said, can I at least bring my mom here since she raised me like a dad? And they were like, no, it has to be your dad. I was like, all right. um so I begged and pleaded for it. I couldn't get my mom to eat with me during the Father's Day thing, and it was horrible. Another incident that I had, that why I hate this holiday, was um we had to do a sheet that I felt at my lowest. Was we had to do this sheet in Miss Jordan's class. It was senior year in Miss Jordan's class, and we had to fill out our family's mom's side and dad's side. I can only fill out two boxes, two, and At that point, I was like, I'm gonna fail this assignment because it's impossible for me to know on my dad's side when I never met most. I met my twin cousins, I met my aunts and all stuff, but I don't remember their names. And when it got to that assignment, you know, I refused to put my dad's name on it. I refused to put it. I told Ms. Jordan I will fail on purpose on this assignment because I refuse to put that man's name on this paper. I put my mom and my grandma. That's all I'm gonna put. And knowing that, my family knows Miss Jordan for such a long time, she was aware of the situation, so she was like, "All right, you get 100." But everybody, most of the class were very angry at that because that's literally all I could put. I said I will not put this man on any documents on none of my assignments. I refuse. It's either you take it as it is, or I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna fail. Another example of why I kind of hate this day because I remember when I was 6 and I was at my sister's dad's house, and you know, and this is kind of why I felt a little iffy about this to this day. Um, Technically, my sister's dad doesn't even have to take care of me. I'm not his child. And I remember one day I was 6 years old, and me and my sister's dad, his name's Steve, walked into the kitchen and I accidentally said, "Okay, Dad." But then Steve kind of looked at me as like, I think he pulled me to the side, and I remember this and kind of devastated me. I was like, "Mom, I need to go home." And he told me that, "Chris, I'm not your dad." Clear as day, he told me that I wasn't his dad, that he's not my dad. It kind of broke my spirit. It broke my spirit to a point where I was like, in the day, this is my sister's dad. There's nothing I can do in the world um, to make it to where he's my dad. It's just not happening. He didn't impregnate my mom and I came to know it was some other dude. And it does devastates me because, um, you know, it kind of it was reality that synced into my brain that my dad will never be there in my natural lifetime. He didn't want to be a part of me. My aunt didn't want to be a part of me. My grandma, a little bit, wanted to be a part of my life, and my twin cousins only listened to what my aunt said because that's their mother. So, and that brings back to another story number 4. I was 19, and I wanted to visit my aunt. This was the most heartbreaking story I could think of. My my mom took me to Grand Prairie, Texas, and I knocked on my aunt's door. She clearly looked at me and told the kids not to open the door for me. And I just sat there. I'm like, "You're gonna open the door for me? You're gonna open?" They're clearly in the window, seeing me knocking on the door, and that was when I knew that my family didn't want nothing to do with me. I cried all the way back to Apple. I will never be able to know where I came from. I will never be able to know, you know, more stories about where I came from. I will never be able to know my Hispanic heritage. I will never be able to know what type of food they eat or, what other family I got out there, where they at. Can I visit them? At least I can pop up and be like, "Hey, I'm your brother," or "Hey, I'm your cousin." But I will never be able to know any of my father's side of the family ever again. And Just thinking about it, it does hurt. It hurts a lot to know that my dad just never wanted to be there. My father tried to erase me from his family. I lost. Um, I lost. All of that. I wear a skin of a Mexican, but I can't tell you why I am. All I can tell you is, well, on the birth certificate it says I'm Hispanic, so that's all you get. I do feel pain every day knowing that I can't tell you where I came from. I can't, I feel pain every day that knowing that, you know, that's my reality and there's nothing I can do to it. I can't take it back, you know, and the, you know, it hurts to know that you walk up to your family and they ghost you, knowing that I'm related to them and they turn their backs on you. I can't, like, I can tell you right now, I can look up all of my contacts and not one of them is my fault. One of those numbers is my dad's side of the family. Not a single one. That hurts. What also hurts at times is I know every bit of all of my sister's side of the family. You know, you know, um, there's several names like Steve, Karen, Tank, Portia, Monica, Kellen, Jordy, who passed away in 2020, I think 2020, 2021, one of those two. Um, Fifi, uh, there's some others that I'm thinking the top of my head, Jordy's mom and dad and stuff like. There's a whole bunch of them. I can name them, but I can't name a single one of my own family. I can't, and that hurts to know that I can never be able to name any of my relatives. I can name my sister's family for days. Heck, I was friends with my sister's brother. His name is Steve, but we call him Tank. And Jordy was our friend. Us three were the trio before Jordy passed. So I just like after Jordy passed, I was kind of like, what's the point of me, talking to people who don't even have to answer my phone calls or I do, I didn't want to take, be a sad story in my sister's family. That's something that I never wanted to do. I'm the kid that didn't have a dad. I'm the kid that lost all of his family because they chose not to want me. I never wanted to be that kid that they had to take care of due to sympathy. They felt bad for me. I had never wanted that, and if I did that to my sister, I'm sorry. Um, you know, it hurts. Um, to know that maybe that was part of some of the reason why my sister don't talk to me as much because I took her dad from her because I was into sports or whatever. I like Pittsburgh Steelers. Or I don't know what it is, but I my goal was to never you know have my sister's dad as a replacement. That was not my intention. I accepted it a long time ago that that my my dad doesn't want me. I accepted it. Doesn't mean the pain still hurts. And because of that pain, Um, because of that pain that I had, you know, it still lingers to this day on Father's Day. The only thing at this point that it could make me feel better about this day is if I had a kid of my own and show the world that, show the world that, I can be, you know, a father to a child and start a new gener, a new legacy. I have to explain my child someday that his or her grandpa did not want to show up. You know, it may not hurt as bad as me when my mom had to tell me dad's not coming. He made his choice. Um, my dad's family decided they want no part with me. Um, it hurts to know that I will never be able to know where I get my personality from. I'm always the kid be like, your personality is one of a kind because truthfully it is because I can't verify who in my family has the same personality as me because there ain't nobody. Um, so it does sting. It does sting to know that that's my reality. You know, there's as I was growing up, my sister was getting prom dresses from her dad, getting PlayStations, you know, showing up to maybe a birthday party, and even showing up to her graduation. And I'm looking at that and like, I know dang well I will never have that in my life. However, in spite of me not having my dad there when I graduated, I did have the support. Uh, my friend Jeremiah, Devontae, Zach, Emily, Gerald, and all of them who supported me when I graduated. And no, I felt pretty good about it because I know I had some support up there. Um, you know, during my graduation, my sister's dad wasn't there. Don't blame him if he was or wasn't there. He's not his responsibility. But I still have friends up there that will support me. When I graduated, that still means the world to me. Birthdays, my friends were there. Coworkers were there. Um, you know, and you know, but the one thing that stayed constant in spite of all of that took part in my life was the fact that my mom was there for it all. She witnessed how much pain I was, knowing that this is the reality of the fact that I didn't have a dad. I had to work. I looked. My dad and my sister's dad gave her a PlayStation. I looked at that. I'm like, one day I'm gonna. I know my as I may believe that. I think my dad was gonna give me one too. I have a PS5 and I bought that myself for $900. I just proved that if I wanted something so bad, I'm gonna get it. I don't know how, but I'm gonna get it. Because once I got that PS5, it was a relief to know that I worked for this. I didn't have to ask anybody to get the PlayStation. I worked my butt off to be in a position to get it. And, I didn't need no father. I didn't need no grandpa, which I didn't have a grandpa either. But, I did all these things because I knew I was going to be better than my dad ever was someday. Um, but like I said, the one thing that stayed constant was the fact that my mom was there for me. My mom was there for me to take me to point A to point B, even if she was tired, even if she was out for the count, even if she worked long hours, she was still there to support me, put food on my plate, help me out. She still does that to this day. Um, that's another reason why I haven't left that one because I don't have nowhere to go. If I'm going to live anywhere in Texas, I know I'm by myself. I'm on my own, and it sucks to know that I that's my reality. I don't have no family members out there. They all abandoned. Abilene is all I have. So while I'm in Abilene, I'm gonna make something worth my while, and you know, be an Abilene. Um, it's not because it's a safety net. It's because this is literally maybe all I have left. Um, but yeah, my mom was there when I cried. My mom took me to my appointments. My mom did everything. She took off multitudes of times of work just to take me to where I need to be. You know, I left school because I had to go to these appointments. I had to go to therapy. I had to go to, these sports events. I had to do this and that. And the only person that was my provider was my mom at the time. And, that's all I had. And for what it was worth, now I'm in a position to where I may not have to ask my mom as much to, maybe every once in a blue moon, but I'm at a position to where I don't have to do that. So with that being said, I do think that I do, will rightfully put my mom in the throne as uh, another. This should be another instead of a Father's Day. It should be another Mother's Day for my mother, Twyla Gilmore, for sacrificing everything she could for me, um, for putting everything in the side just for me because I knew I was gonna have to. For me, I was her undivided attention. It taught me dedication. It taught me always being there. My mom was never an affectionate person, but her actions showed how much she cared about us. Her late night talks with us um, showed us that okay, she loves us. But this day should go to my mom. In spite of everything that I lost, in spite of every pain that I had, this day belongs to my mother. So I want to say happy second Mother's Day to my mom, Twyla Walker. Um, I hope she had a good day. I don't know what she did today. Did even did I talk to her today? Yeah, I did. Um, but I do want to note that um, this is another Mother's Day for my mother. Uh, so thank you for all that you've done for me. Um, in my 27 or 28 years, and I'm looking forward to more years down the road. So that's all I got. Um, another life story of my life. So if you like the video, like it, comment what you think and everything. But anyways, deuces. Stay fresh.